please put your hands together for, to my immediate left, Rob Suzuki. To his left, Paul Doughty. To his left, Tim Horvat, who's of course son played with the London Knights, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here today. Really quickly, just we'll go right down the line, and Mr. Suzuki, we'll start with you, and we'll focus on Nick, although we're going to get to Ryan as well. What are your first memories of your son playing hockey, whether it was the first day on the ice, whether it was first game? What are your earliest memories?
First time we started skating, he was 2 years old.
Wow.
But he couldn't stand up until he was 4. So I gave an interview just recently to a guy in Montreal, and
yeah.
I used to take him to Nichols Arena. They used to have a parent-taught skate, and we had a bucket, and he'd push the bucket around, and when he'd try and stand up, he'd just fall right down.
Did he do the thing where you have to skate out to the little bags and pick them up and then skate back and put them in the bucket to encourage the kids to get skating? Is he one of those?
I didn't think of that.
Didn't even get that far?
Well, it was just me and him. Like nobody was making use of this ice time. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and free ice.
Take it.
But by the time he was 4, he finally figured out how to stand up.
Yeah.
And then
he's doing it right now.
Yeah. Then he took skating lessons.
Yep.
And once he could go forward, he says, "Dad, I want to play hockey." I said, "You need to learn how to stop." Plus, we'd missed registration, so that year he didn't play hockey. But we went out to again Nichols, I think, and Carling had a little shinny program.
Nice.
Parent taught shinny, and we just knock a puck around and do that. So.
Mr. Doughty, you have a similar story?
Not really, no. Drew, he's a December birthday, and he got a mini stick for his first birthday. And that's all. The other toys didn't matter. That's the only one he wanted to play with. My mic not on?
Oh, here we go. We got it.
So he actually started playing in the red circle hockey, which most of you Londoners probably are aware of, when he was 3, because he was turning 4 that December. So first 3 weeks we took him out. We'd put him out on the ice. He'd come back to the gate and say, "My jock hurts." So we take him off the ice, go home, come back next week. "My skates hurt. My helmet hurts," whatever. So then the last time we took him back, and he came back and told us something hurt. The coach came over and said, "What's the problem here?" So we just told him, "Well, he's saying this hurts." Coach picked him up, took him out to the center of the ice, and that was it. Never came back. So that was pretty simple.
Tim?
Yeah, for me, he's probably, Bo was about 18 months, and I bought him a pair of these Lang skates, single blade Lang skates that were, they're like a ski boot. And then he would walk around the whole house around, on the carpet all day long. And, it'd be time for bed, take the skates off, and he wouldn't want them off. So I actually put him in bed with the skates on. And and then
is that why you were never on the cover of today's Parent magazine?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So then my aunt, she was the arena manager in Bothwell, and I went over there and in the morning, and he had that little. My father-in-law made a little push log for him so he could kind of skate, and he went out in the ice and he just sat there and he didn't want to skate, and then. About 15 minutes later, all of a sudden he got up on his own and started walking on the skates. So that was pretty impressive. So that's my first, big thing with Bo that I'll never forget.
One for each of you. Tim, what was the phone conversation like when Bo told you he was going to be captain of the Vancouver Canucks?
Well, I still get choked up over it. I was saying to Mr. Suzuki, you probably know a fellow by the name of Rob Papineau.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's the president now, I believe, of the Sudbury Wolves. And he said to me that night that Bo, he said that at the time, there's only 29 captains in the world, and your son's one of them. And, it kind of, we come from a town of 900 people, and I just look back at how hard he worked at his job, at his craft, and that to me will never, I'll never forget that moment. And when Bo told me, he's a real humble kid, Bo's very humble, and he just said, Dad, they're going to name me captain of the Vancouver Canucks. I'll be their 14th captain. And I just went, wow, you know. So it's pretty special, yeah, for sure.
So, Rob, when Nick told you that he was going to be captain of the Montreal Canadiens, how did that conversation go?
Well, to be honest, I was kind of expecting it. Mostly because of you guys.
Did you say what took you so long?
Yeah, something like that. But based on the previous 2 years, the fact that just the way their team evolved with Shea Weber leaving, and just it looked to me like it was going to be a natural fit if they wanted to go young, which that's what they want to do. But I can tell the way he interacts with the coaches and the management there. He gets along with them really well, and yeah, so I wasn't that surprised. I actually went to the draft because I thought something was going to happen then. So I hung out with him at the draft, and yeah, but we had to wait.
Have you imagined seeing it, like that jersey with the C on? He hasn't played a game with it yet, but
yeah, we've got a suite set up for the opening game and against Toronto, and so we've got family. Everybody's going to that, but that was planned before. Like we planned on going to having the suite before anything was announced about him being captain. But
that's going to be awesome.
Yep.
Now, Paul, for you it's a little different, but you've had the honor of watching Drew twice lift the Stanley Cup and twice put an Olympic gold medal around his neck. And it's got to be hard to pick one of them, but is there a moment in particular that you watched your boy with one of those, the cup or the medal, and said, wow, this is really special for us?
Well, for us, honestly, well, for me, I shouldn't say us because I haven't asked my wife. The first Olympic gold medal was the biggie.
Vancouver 2010.
Vancouver. First, he was totally unexpected to make the team. And I mean, anyone that was in that city for those 2 weeks, it was absolutely phenomenal. It was absolutely the best. You really felt Canadian. I mean, the States are real big on this patriotism, but there was nothing more patriotic than Vancouver those 2 weeks. But that said, for the players, I mean, they get to Olympics, you get together for 2 weeks, you play with a group of guys for 2 weeks. The Stanley Cup, the first Stanley Cup, I mean, you're with those guys all year. They're like family. And to the players, that is definitely the pinnacle, much more so than the Olympic gold medal.
And the famous story is Drew was late to the gold medal game, right?
It's a little overblown, but yeah.
Man, he played unbelievable. Jeff?
You know, one of the great traditions in hockey is the father's trip. Is there? And we'll start with you, Tim, as you smile. So maybe there is a story. Do you have a favorite father's trip with the Vancouver Canucks?
Yeah, actually, they all been great. They treat us like gold. We get to go to every practice. We get to fly with them on the plane. We get to all their meals, and they have this thing when you go into meetings that if you have your phone on and the phone rings, it's a $200 fine, right? So I don't want to name a player or the dad, but we're in the meeting.
What does his name rhyme with?
So we're sitting there and.
Was it JT Miller?
No, okay. It was not. No, this was a few years ago. Was
it a Sedin?
No, it was not. No. So all of a sudden we're sitting there.
Alexander Edler. We can do this all night.
And then the phone just starts to ring, and Willie Desjardins, he didn't crack a smile or nothing. He just kept talking, and everybody all the players, you could just see them put their head down and just start laughing. And then all of a sudden he gets up and he walks over the corner and he's saying, What? No, not now. He says, I'm in a meeting. I already cost my kid $200. So instead of just shutting the phone off, he didn't shut the phone off. He went and answered the call. Like, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I think our last Father's Day trip, we got to go into Las Vegas and then into Arizona. And that's a great trip. and we have lots of fun. I really got to know Brent Sutter really well. I hung out with him quite a bit, and they take the equipment trainers' parents or the dads. They take everybody, and they do it right, and it's an awesome time. And then we were in Arizona, and I remember the lady looking after us. She says, "Well, they want to do the mother's trip. Where do you think we should take them?" And I spoke up and I said, "Winnipeg, Minnesota in February."
Husband of the year right there.
But other than that, no, it was a great experience. It's great to get all the and like Mr. Doughty said here, they honestly, the players become your kids too. Like you think of them as your own. Like you go talk to them like the Sedins. There's nobody honestly that I can remember on this planet that are better human beings than the Sedins. And I know they take a lot of rap, but I tell you, they are truly, truly great people. And they'll come right over to you and give you a hug, and it's just like your own kid. It's amazing.
Paul?
What's the question?
Oh, the question was most memorable father's trip.
Well, when I went on the first one, I was the youngest dad. Now I'm definitely not. But most memorable was probably Florida. It was Florida. We had a lot of fun, and I mean, that's what it's all about. I've gotten to know some of the dads really well over the years because they've been there since day one, and some of them are still hanging around, but I've converted a bunch of them over to drinking Guinness, so that's a good thing. And a bunch of the players, so I'm doing my job down there. But I would say that's probably the favorite one.
Mr. Suzuki?
We haven't had a trip yet.
COVID.
Oh, of course, because
Yeah, I
of
wouldn't even
COVID.
Nick's
thought
only
about
been
that.
around for a while. So
Is it planned for this season already? Do you know when it's happening?
as far as I know, Montreal doesn't do father's trips. But one of the things that
Maybe the captain's dad could
one
lean
of,
on
one of
them
the
a little bit.
one of the things that I thought maybe why Nick might be named captain this year was because he maybe mentioned something to his mom about something happening later in the year for someone other than the dads. But and that's all I'll say.
Gotcha, very well.
Breaking news.
There you go.
Mr. Suzuki Insider.
Off
Very
to Twitter,
good.
everybody, off to Twitter.
Have you ever asked any of your sons to get you another player's autograph or a photo with another player,
Or a stick.
only to have your son say, "Dad, are you serious? You're embarrassing me"?
Oh, definitely.